Okay, so let's go ahead and start our timer, and let's go into our editor. Okay, so after checking out some of the TypeScript documentation and looking over some of other developers set up for TypeScript and Node, um, what I've come to find out is that what would be best is we get rid of this bin. Let's go ahead and do that. Let's just get rid of this bin directory, and in our app directory, what we want to do is go ahead and let's listen on port 3000, and we're going to console.log listening on port 3000. And later, when we get to creating a config file for our whole environment, we're going to have that separate. Then we can change this and make this it's just going to be set whenever our environment variable is set. So for right now though, let's go ahead and so we've got rid of that. So and our package JSON, we no longer have a bin folder. So what we're going to do is we're going to kill two birds with one stone. So with TypeScript, when you compile it, it actually compiles ES6 JavaScript, and you can compile it down to ES5. So that's what we're going to do, and we're going to use a library called tsnode to do that instead of using Babel like we're doing here. So we can get rid of this, and so our start script, we're going to change that, and we're also going to add a library to automate our node server. That way we don't have to shut it down and keep restarting it every time we make a change. And that library is called nodemon, and we're going to use tsnode register to our source directory, and currently we're using app.ts a JavaScript file. And as you can see, if you still have an JavaScript file here, you can go ahead and change that extension to TypeScript. This is trash. This is just for it was just for testing purposes for TypeScript. So back to our package.json. Okay, and then we're gonna go ahead and yarn add d nodemon and tsnode. Okay, so while that's installing there, our build is going to change. We no longer have to copy files. TypeScript is going to do that for us. So in our build, tsc, that's the command to run TypeScript, and that'll compile your files over into JavaScript. Okay, so now what we want to do is create a TypeScript config file. So let's go to the root and create a tsconfig.json file, and I have a gist that we can use for that. And I'll put this link in the description, but you can copy this, and then let's go over to our config file and let's paste that in there. Okay, and once that's done, we should be able to start a server. Listening on port 3000. And if we go over to the browser, refresh, we can see that it's working. Okay, so let's go ahead and test if we can make changes in here. So in our app file, let's do an ES6 change here, and let's let our const, that's ES6, so we're going to let thing equal thing, and we're going to console log that. Okay, so our server's reloading, and as you can see, console.log thing. So let's change one of our views, and let's change this welcome to, and let's change that to hello, and let's see if it's changed on the browser. Refresh, and there it is. Okay, so we're able to use ES6, and we're able to use TypeScript, and let's change it back. So we're going to go ahead and commit all that. Go to our terminal, shut that down, and we're going to yarn add everything, yarn commit. Oh, let's see if we command S not found. Let's see what happened here. Oh, yarn S. We're going to get add get. Let's check and see. Okay, untracked prettier RC. Okay, so this was something I had to do for my setup, and prettier RC wasn't responding correctly, so I had to put this in the root. You might have to do that too if you're using prettier. So I don't use semicolons. Okay, so this is kind of odd. This is taking it from the parent, grandparent. Okay, so let's get and let's go ahead and get commit and added TypeScript to node. Let's check that. Okay, push that up to the remote, and okay, so now we can go ahead and stop what we're doing here, finish this task, and now it's a total of 23 minutes. Okay, so let's get back into Jira and log in our time. So 23, and we added 9 more minutes, and what was that, 23 we said? Okay, so automated new server. Okay, I added these earlier just to test out new tasks, but we're not going to do that, so you probably don't have these comments here. I'm just going to do those, and I'm going to add use typescript completed. Okay, so that's it for the back end. Okay, so there's another thing that we're going to add, but I'll do that in the next video. I saw in the node example that Babel had that I want to implement in our server, which is they do a nodemon here too, but they have this here for production. We're going to build the script for production too. This is where you can build the dist folder. That'll be for production but currently we're using TS node and we don't have to do all that. And then this is also another thing we're going to implement. This tests the server, and because we're going to be using GraphQL, we're not going to be testing routes. Possibly just one route, but we're going to be doing more of GraphQL testing. So this request here is I'm probably going to implement that also in the next video. So I will see you then.